touched on this a little bit yesterday during the Zebedee kind of workshop. There are some pillars of the Lightning Network. We have invoices, or otherwise known as 11 invoices. We have LNURL, and we have Lightning addresses. So invoices are single-use payment requests that have an expiration, a specified amount, and only payable once. In most of the cases, this is now beginning to kind of blur the lines between this. But for most application use cases, this is the current case. We have LNURL, which is a payment orchestration protocol. What does that mean? It means that it enables static invoices that can be payable between a range of a minimum amount and a maximum amount, and it can be paid any number of times. So it's like a static QR code that can be paid multiple times. There's also the ability to withdraw funds over the web. So for example, normally you'd have to have like a complicated flow wherein you'd create an invoice from wallet 1, paste it into wallet 2, pay it, and then transfer the funds. Now we have one QR code that you can click and move the funds into another wallet. So it simplifies the payment orchestration. And then lastly, we have Lightning address, which is like a human readable identifier used to receive money, and it looks like an email. So that's just kind of a brief overview of the pillars of the Lightning Network. We'll get into some specific examples. So you can see on the right, this is typically what an invoice will look like. You'll have like a pay button, and within this pay button, you'll have an href attribute, so like an HTML element where you embed the invoice. So you can click on it and the wallets know how to handle this payment. Otherwise, you can have it shown as a QR code as an example. So again, just kind of reinforcing invoices, or what we call charges at Zebedee. Typically they're only payable once, so if the user wants to pay twice, they have to make 2 separate requests. There's a specified amount that is generated, and you pay it for that amount. Some applications allow you to pay over that amount, but not all do. Most don't, in fact. And then there's an expiration time frame. So if you try to pay it beyond the expiration, you won't be able to. The user will see a failure. So what does this look like in terms of like a user experience? So here's an example of like what a tip flow could look like. Can everyone see the screen okay? Yeah? All right. So for example, I'm going to generate a tip amount for 100 sats, and then I'm showing the invoice here. So then I can copy the invoice. Let me open up my other browser here. So I'm going to open up my Zebedee browser extension, which is like a Lightning Network wallet for the web. And then I can paste in the QR code or the invoice. And you can see the amount. You can see here it's for 100 sats. It's for 10 minutes, and it has a description. So then you can actually submit this payment, and then the payment is completed on the other side. So that's what an invoice flow can look like. That was for like a tipping use case. Also, as an example, you can show, let me find where this was here. Here we go. Here's an example of like what you could do for e-commerce, for like a microblogging platform. So you can open up an invoice here. So you can click buy. You can see an invoice. You click on the invoice to pay it. And then from there, you can confirm the payment. You see the expiration time, the fee, the amount, the payment is sent. And then now you have access to this cool JPEG. So yeah, that's what like a purchase flow could look like for a microblogging platform, as an example. So that's invoices. Any questions about invoices? The application I showed that I opened where I paid the invoice, that's for the web. So that's like a Chrome browser extension that we built to handle Lightning payments. Chrome, Firefox. You can use it for that. And then we have a mobile app too.
And we can find it.
I can send the links out in Telegram afterwards if you'd like.
And
Awesome.
without the apps, I mean, we can use in breakfast or secret.
No, this is in production.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have some wallet for testing?
You can play with like sats on the production environment, but there's no test environment for it. It's a production application that we built. Okay. All right. So here's basically, let me break down like what we just saw because that was kind of fast. So step one, like Bob wants to pay Alice. Bob creates an invoice. After specifying the amount, expiration time, optionally, sometimes the application will do this for you, and a description, Bob will copy the invoice and send it to Alice or show it as a form of the QR code, and then Alice will receive the charge or scan the charge or invoice and then pay it. So then it copies the URI, scans it, pays it, and then Bob has received Alice's payment. So that's essentially what we just saw happen. So it's great for use cases like point of sales, tipping, purchases, and it's easy to relate to specific users because of that. Because you generate an invoice, you can associate it with a specific user and then execute the payment. Or the user can execute the payment, and then you know when that invoice has actually been paid to know whether or not to grant them access to the content or to credit the user's account or to send them a payment, as an example, over the Lightning Network to give them their funds. So LNURL, so now we're getting into like a bit more payment orchestration for the Lightning Network. So you have LNURL pays, which are static QR codes. So like we mentioned earlier with invoices, you can pay them once and then then you need to generate another one if you want to send another tip. With static QR codes, that static invoices, or what we call LNURL pays or static charges at Zebedee, you can pay them multiple times. And you can pay them over and over again. And then, as we were talking about with withdrawal QR codes, you can now move money much easier at the click of a button. So we've seen very cool use cases with both of these. So I'll give some examples of what that looks like. Here we have Zebedee built like a streamer tool that you can use static QR codes. So this is really cool for content creators as well and other use cases. So here I have a static QR code. On the right, this is an invoice, a static charge that can be paid multiple times. And then when this is paid over the Lightning Network, so you can pay with any Lightning application that supports LNURL, you can scan and pay this. And on the left-hand side, you'll see like a new bubble pop up with the message that the user sent, as well as like a message flash on the screen. So these are this is all conducted over the Lightning Network. So I can scan it with my phone. I'm going to put a message, and then I'm going to pay it. So then I just paid it, and you can see that it popped up on the screen, and you can see the message, and then I received like 100 sats. So these are cool things that you can do with static charges. So really, like your imagination is the limit. You can do so many cool different use cases with LNURL. And then let me show you an example of a withdrawal code. Whoops, it disappeared. So here we go. So here I'm going to this is a QR code that will automatically transfer from Lightning Gifts into my own wallet. So then you can create experiences that are unique. So one cool user experience I've seen with withdrawal QR codes are like applications that allow you to move your balance out of like a social application back to your wallet. Azteco uses these to create little vouchers. So people can give you dollars, and then you can give them a receipt that has a QR code with Bitcoin on it. So that is another really cool use case. So then you can easily sell even small amounts of Bitcoin down to like 1 cent to begin selling Bitcoin. So that's one really cool use case that I've seen. And then you can see here, I just clicked the QR code. You could scan this as well if you're on your phone. And from there, you can see it's 100 sats. You can see the description, where I'm getting the funds from, and then I confirm the actual payment, and now it's processing and the withdrawal was completed. So now I just at a couple clicks of a button, I received 100 sats. So that's like another very cool use case for LNURL and things that you can embed in your application to allow for the seamless transfer of user funds. So looking at this, breaking it down from like a step-by-step user experience. So let's say Alice finds a creator that she really loves and wants to send them a tip. So Alice can, pull out her phone, scan the QR code, or click static charge, and then from there she can pay it and confirm the amount. So she can enter like a description or a comment and an amount and pay it, and then from there Bob has received Alice's tips. So remember earlier we were looking at this slide, it's a bit more complex, whereas this is a little bit more user-friendly and easier to do. So from there, like same with withdrawal codes, it would be a little bit more frictionless for me on wallet A to create an invoice, go to my wallet B, paste in the invoice, and then pay it. Now you can just click a button, confirm it, and now you've received your funds. So LNURL really allows for like payment orchestration to be simplified and easier from your side as well as the user side in terms of interacting with Lightning applications. So the last one, well, we have two more primitives that we'll cover. We have Lightning addresses. So these are really cool. You can send, receive, split. It allows for like really great user experiences. So normally you're interacting with these invoices that have letters and numbers that from like an end user might be a little bit confusing if they've never interacted with Lightning before. Now you can have a static identifier that looks like an email. So mine is like santos@zbd.gg. So then people can send me money directly to this address. So it allows for a simplified user experience, so you don't have to deal with QR codes. You can see an example of the Lightning address here on the right. It allows for easy deposit since you can receive money to it, and then you can send money to someone else's Lightning address. So that also allows for like easy deposits, easy withdrawals. Maybe you can allow for automatic withdrawals, which I'll show. You can do payment splitting. So if someone leaves a tip using that invoice flow that I showed earlier of like 1,000 sats, and you have 3 different content creators that created this blog, you can automatically split the 1,000 sats between the 3 different creators at whatever allocation that you'd want. So if someone gets 30%, 30%, 30% roughly, you could do it that way. Or if one creator gets 50%, then another creator gets 25%, and then another creator gets 25%. You could also do that all programmatically and just send the payments directly to the Lightning address. So these are all really cool things that you can do with this programmable money to create brand new user experiences that have never existed before. It's really a perfect money for the internet. So as an example, the user experience flow, let me show like more of a concrete example before we jump into that. So here I have like I had received the tip over this application earlier. You can see now I have 98 sats and I want to take the sats off of this platform. So now I have a Lightning address associated with this account. As you can see here, let me load the page. So you can see I have my Lightning address. It's santos@zbd.gg. And then I can click withdrawal, and then the withdrawal will process. So you can see withdrawal successful at the top, and then I can check my wallet, and you can see that I received my sats of 98 sats. So then you can even simplify the withdrawal experience further and even do automatic payouts. So how did that work? So Alice wants to send a friend, a payment using their Lightning address. You just type in the amount, the Lightning address, and then review and confirm the payment information, and the payment is processed. So you can do that programmatically. You can do it through like a user experience flow if you were like building a wallet, for example, to allow like the user to have more control. So this is a really great best-in-class way of building Lightning experiences that are familiar to the user. So makes sending money as easy as an email. Next, we have kind of some examples of payouts and automatic splits, like kind of a visualization of what we were just talking about. For one payment, like this could be a tip, and you could automatically split it between user A, user Y, and user Z. So that's kind of just an example there. You can see like automatic withdrawals, like I showed with the other application. You can set your Lightning address, and then if you receive a balance of over 100, it'll automatically withdraw it to your Lightning address for the wallet that you use on a day-to-day basis. So this is how you can deal with like very small amounts of money, but do them in an economical way. So then you're not paying too high in network fees. So that's some economics there for Lightning. Then you have KeySend. It's very similar to Lightning Address, but it's not human readable. And we also have an API for that. Then now looking at some like real use cases. So I showed many different examples. Here's like a game that implemented Zebedee. You can play coin mahjong. You can earn Bitcoin from completing the levels. And then here, instead of a gamer tag, you could use a Lightning address. And you can just process the payment, and then they receive it in whatever their preferred wallet is. So that's one example of how you can integrate Lightning into like a game or other applications. You can store their balance. You can have them enter the Lightning address. When they click redeem, you send a payment to their Lightning address. Here's like a cool social example where we're using Fountain, another Lightning Network application, where likes become sats. So then you actually have like this real value attached to social media experiences. So this is a really cool podcasting app. It'll stream you sats for listening to podcasts. You can actually tip or boost creators or zap. Those are all the kind of common terms to send them money to your favorite creators, as well as stream them sats in real time. So you can process payments continuously over the Lightning Network, and they're using KeySend for the podcasters and Zebedee APIs to power their infrastructure. So that's how that works. That's another example of really cool programmable money. Then we have Slice, another cool application example. So just like Brave Browser will pay you, whatever for watching ads, this actually pays you Bitcoin. So Slice is doing it the Bitcoiner way, where you can install this extension and you'll see ads, and then you'll earn Bitcoin for seeing those ads, and they'll process payments over the Lightning Network. I believe they use LN URL withdrawals for this. You can also do PayPal, but 95% of people are choosing Bitcoin to cash out. All right, so that pretty much wraps up my presentation. Tomorrow we'll be covering, or maybe later today, I can't remember, I have to check with Philly. We'll be covering, we covered what this looks like from applications. We talked about the primitives and how those are used and some examples. Next, we'll be looking at integration hints, like how does the integration actually work? What does the user interface look like, and how do you construct that? So I have some resources that I put together to showcase step-by-step how that works. And then we can also construct and build a Lightning Network payouts application as well. So pay to Lightning address. And I can show examples of how that works. So yeah, with Zebedee, build with innovators, build with Zebedee. Thank you very much for having me here. I really appreciate it.